Hey guys, it's Sam here. Just very quickly before we start, Guillaume and I have partnered up with Automation Boutique to write a brand new ebook for you guys called Going Beyond the Buzzwords. It's an amazing ebook that goes through all the things about automation, data, and processing that just simplifies the topics just in the way that we do all the time in Corporate Treasury 101. To pick up your copy, just go into the show notes and click on the link, or go to the website and find the partners page where we have a link to the ebook there as well with Automation Boutique. And then here's the episode. Welcome to the Corporate Treasury 101 podcast. This is the first part of our full interview with Patrick Kunz of Pecunia Treasury and Finance, where we discuss understanding interim treasury management. In today's episode, expect to learn what is interim treasury management and why do companies look for interim treasury talent? What is the key difference between hiring an interim treasury manager versus hiring a full FTE? And are there any particular benefits that an interim treasury management brings in opposition to a more traditional hiring approach? And much more. As always, we really hope you enjoy the episode. If that's the case, then when you're thinking about how you found the podcast, chances are you found it through word of mouth, social media, or recommendation from your favorite podcast platform. And our only request to you is help keep that going. So the best way you can support the podcast is to head over to YouTube and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Corporate Treasury 101. It would mean the world to us and it'll help more people learn about Treasury. And with that, please welcome Patrick Kunz. Patrick, thank you so much for coming on the show. Let's start very basic here. So what is an interim treasury manager or treasury management?
Yeah, great first question. And then thanks for having me on the show, guys. Really pleased to be here.
Pleasure.
Like you already say, interim treasury manager. I'm just a treasury manager or a treasurer, depending on the job title. You have to give it a name. The difference being I am interim, and interim meaning for a short period. So the difference between me and somebody on a payroll is that I do have a dot on the horizon. I do already have an end date of my assignment before I started, which is fine because it helps me plan and helps me know how much time I have with the company. But that's the difference between interim management and the normal treasurer. We are job hoppers. To say it like that, we go from assignment to assignment and from client to client with a fixed horizon. Doesn't mean we have less loyalty to a client. We just like going from client to client. But I'm probably already answering different questions now.
No, it's okay. Please go ahead. So why does a company want to even go ahead? Because I've not really seen that very much in other professions versus treasury. So I've maybe a little bit here and there. But interim treasury manager, you're not the first one we've come across. So
Okay.
Why in treasury do companies look, do you think, specific for interim managers? And why are they not just going straight for hiring?
Yeah. Well, hiring is a different process than hiring an interim treasurer. So I keep saying we, I mean then the interim treasury managers. So we are more flexible. We are often plug and play. So you don't have to teach us things, because we have done the trick with many clients already. And we can be hired on the spot. It entails a contract, but if I'm available in half the time, you call me today, I can start tomorrow if I would be available. So the hiring process, if you hire somebody, especially in this market, 2 to 3 months, and you have somebody on the job, then you need to train them. The idea is that they stay for years onwards. But the experience level is slightly lower, probably. So that's often the reason why companies hire me. They need somebody on the spot now, often yesterday, because somebody left, maternity cover, or and that can also happen. They have a big project, and the project doesn't fit the team. So treasury teams are usually smaller, 2, 3, 4, 5 people. Only the big multinationals maybe have 10 to 15. And if you then add a big project, TMS implementation, a cash management project, changing banks, think about it. You don't necessarily have the capacity in the team Big accounting teams, they might be 50 to 100 people. Controlling teams, 150 people. Go crazy on those. So I also sometimes have projects where I'm asked to come in with a company, and they say, we bought a TMS, but we don't have anybody in the team who can help out and implement it. We just need the capacity from somebody to help out. And I think my assignments are like 60-70% full interim management, so really cover for sick leave, maternity cover, or somebody already left the company and they need the hands. And I think 20% is projects and 10% is advisory.
Super clear. And so for the company itself, the key difference between hiring an interim treasury manager and hiring a normal FT is really the time from, let's say, start. So confirm I want this person to actual start. Is that really it, or what are the other differences?
No,
for the company itself.
Yeah, of course I have a different contract. I'm not on the payroll of a company. It's like hiring an external consultant. I send invoices, so I work on an hourly rate instead of a salary rate. But yes, in a sense, that's the difference. I'm also a treasurer. I just have a different contract and a different way of paying me. And I potentially have more knowledge than somebody on payroll because I've done the trick with 30, 45 companies already. I've seen more in treasury.
Are there particular benefits, Patrick? Above the obvious flexibility and the fact that the hiring time is, I suspect, a bit shorter, and that you're plug and play as a treasury, as an interim treasury manager, what are the benefits of hiring an interim treasury manager versus a more traditional hiring approach, let's say?
Mm-hmm. No, what you already mentioned, I can hit the spot running from the beginning. I probably need less training than somebody who is hired. And you get all the added benefits from my experience with previous clients. Sometimes I get hired to replace somebody, and sometimes I do have the luxury to have 2, 3, 1 week with that person for a handover. Sometimes I don't. To be honest, for me, it doesn't matter too much. In the handover, you obviously get taught the way the previous person does it. And during the time, I always ask questions like, why are you doing it that way? Have you thought about doing it this way? And sometimes I get an answer like, no, I've also been taught the way I do it now. Or we've been doing it like this for the last 10, 15 years. Never considered doing it differently or improving the processes. Or sometimes it was like, we didn't have time to improve processes because we were so busy moving blocks. We didn't have time to invent the wheel to go faster because we were so busy, chicken and egg. So the benefit of me is I sometimes come in and I flag things. I see like we're doing cash management in the morning in 2 hours. I've done it with other clients in half an hour. What if we improve? Can also reach it in doing it in half an hour a day. So you get an interim manager, but you get a consultant for free, basically, because I will use my knowledge with that company to say, hey, these are improvements, or I will be looking for cost savings as well. I am slightly more expensive than somebody on salary. So I always tried to find a positive return on investment on myself for that company, looking for the obvious bank cost, cash management cost, bank deposit investments, which is hot now, interest rates are higher. Savings on FX management is often a big one because they are hidden costs. So the best thing is obviously if I can save 50 to 100K in the first 2 months, and I can tell my client, all these invoices I'm going to send to you, I already earned them back for you. So don't worry about those approving those. So yes, it's an interim manager plus a consultant for free.
I love that. And I love that you leaned a bit into the disadvantages. Maybe to bring the question a bit differently. Although treasury is a bit industry agnostic, I think that's something we can say. There are specificities, right, within each treasury department. Plus you will have certain treasury tasks that are tackled in one treasury department and not another. Some very high specificities on whatever you name it, commodity risk management on fuel, for instance, for an American company, just saying something. So how do you manage that? I really like the point on, okay, I'm bringing the experience from other treasury department that I've been recently in. Like, it's not like, oh yeah, 10 years ago I used to do that in that company. No, it's like fresh hands-on experience from other best practices. But how do you tackle okay, there might be some specificity that you need to know for certain treasury department that normally hiring a full-time employee will take time to onboard on to specific tasks.
Yeah.
How do you handle that?
No, fair question. I can never say I've done it all. I've done a lot in Treasury. And I think for 80-90%, Treasury is Treasury. That doesn't matter on the industry. It's all about the cash. It's all about the risk. It's all about the debt, the financing. So these three pillars determine your complete Treasury. And that's how I would also look at the Treasury. But yes, I agree. Sometimes I enter a client and they're very specific processes or very specific products, risk types. Commodity is one example. I like it if I have some sort of handover then. Even if the person left, there's always the team or the finance team to lean back on. The easy answer is, if I don't know it, I'm going to ask questions. I'm going to chase people, hey, I don't know this. I'm going to be fair. I need this information. Can you help me? And if they don't have the answer, whom can I ask? In the rare case where that's not available, I have to do my own research. I have to Google, I have to find articles, I have to educate myself. That's slightly the responsibility of me then, hired for a certain task. I promised the company I can do this. If I lack the knowledge, I need to grab the knowledge quickly or find the knowledge and educate myself quickly in a quick way to learn it in an efficient and fast way to be able to do the job. But that would be the same for somebody you hire. That they might get slightly more time to learn it and more handover on it. I sometimes have more responsibility to already know it and do it immediately.
Right. Makes a lot of sense. Have you already had a full-time employment offer after an interim treasury management position? Is it something that happens? Or, because I think you mentioned one of the one of the reasons you often get is, oh yeah, there is a maternity leave or a sick leave. But does it happen that, or in general in the profession, like the interim management position goes so well, as you said, you bring so much benefits and like savings that it completely offset the cost of an interim treasury management? Does it happen that you're just in front of a company that says, hey, Patrick, how about you stay a little bit longer or like long term with us?
Mm-hmm. They can hire me for longer, but I'm not going to go on the payroll. I've made my decision. I'm interim manager. I want to stay the interim manager. I want to remain an interim manager. Even if they like me so much, I had the case slightly early in my career as an interim manager, where the company liked me and they said, stay with us. And they offered me a very decent salary and I declined immediately. And the treasurer was really surprised, like, Patrick, this is a very decent offer. And you didn't even think about it. You immediately declined and said, like, I know it's going to happen. Even if I stay 2 or 3 years, after that time, the treasury is done or optimized or at a level where you say it's going concern and it's, I don't want to say the boring word, but there's not enough to do anymore for me. And then I have to move on anyway. I would hop to another client then. And job hopping in fixed contracts on payroll, that's considered job hopping. And doing it as an interim manager, it's considered experience. So no, in that sense, I really loved being an interim manager and going from client to client. It also sometimes helps being the external guy, brings in new ideas and it isn't affected by the internal politics or position of the company, reporting lines. It sometimes helps to get in and say, hey guys, why are you doing it like this, like in the last 10 years? And turns out if I shout that, people listen. But people in the organization have shouted that for years already, but nobody listened because you do your job with all respect. But it sometimes works like that you need an external voice to accelerate the change. And that fits my character and my way of working. So I will definitely stay an interim manager for the rest of my life.